Hello, beautiful earth signs, Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. My name is Ivona Rose, and I welcome you to welcome to my channel, Rose Healing Light. This will be a reading for the whole year 2023. Yeah, it's like a bit of a year ahead reading, and it's going to apply for you if you have one of the earth signs, so either Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo as your sun sign, moon sign, or ascendant sign. And just let me, and I want to explain a little bit more about this, so about the reading that I'm doing now. So it's kind of like a year ahead, 2023 type of reading, which will contain perhaps some themes for you guys, and obviously at the best advice, right? So that you can follow. And perhaps maybe you can use it to know what to do. And how I've set it up. So this portion of the video will be like the general message for all all three earth signs. So for all of you guys, again, Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. Sorry, I feel like I need to repeat it. And yes, and it will be a general message for all of you, just because we do have, so very often there is some aspect of very similar trajectory, for example, between earth signs, the same with water signs and other signs as well. And I would suggest please do listen first to to this general message, and after this video I'm going also to do three a little bit shorter videos for each of the signs, right? So for one for Taurus, one for Virgo, and one for Capricorn, but all together they'll be posted on YouTube as one bigger message, so just so it's easier for you. And I've already, and my guidance from the angels was to tell you specifically to listen first to the general message, right? Because will be like, I will talk about perhaps some themes for you for 2023, and then you will have specific message for each of your signs. So if you are a Taurus, then you can listen then to Taurus perhaps, and then apply, perhaps see how one message works with another, just to give you perhaps the best possible, let's say the best guidance that I can. Also, I think the other guidance from the angels, sorry guys, I just wanted, okay, to correct my camera. The other guidance from the angels was also that these messages may apply at different times for different people, so at different times during the year or throughout the year. So you are being, let's say, requested, or this is the guidance from the angels also, and from me as well, that you can perhaps listen to this video or come back to that video at some stage later on, so in 3 months time, maybe in 6 months time. So I think the way you may feel like it, you may feel like you are looking for guidance perhaps, right? And you are looking for the right advice. So that's why the angels want you to know that you can come back to this video and re-listen to it, and you perhaps will see things from a different perspective, just because, and also just to tell you that just because our perspective and our energy changes, let's say throughout the year, right? So now you may listen to these messages, and some of them may not make sense straight away, right? But let's say in 6 months time, you would have changed. Maybe for those who have been also practicing like meditation and healing work, you would definitely have changed, your energy would have shifted. But you may be in a position where you will need extra guidance, right? And this is exactly when you can come back to the video and again and listen to it, and perhaps I don't know, draw some conclusions. You know, why, I don't know, why you heard that in the past, but now it seems so different. It does happen. Like, I know I tested it on myself, so and I think that it's actually quite a good way of sometimes reviewing and going backwards to some videos from the past, right? And very often, like many readers say, because all of these readings are a little bit like timeless readings, right? So most of, even though the reading, like I did readings, for example, for December, but you may be guided at some stage, for example, to come back to this reading, right, for a reason, because there's probably a relevant advice or a relevant message for you. And sometimes it's good a little bit, as you know, probably for those who do reflective work, you know that sometimes it's good to go back sometimes and rethink what happened then and how you can perhaps do better, or let's say apply yourself better in the current situation. All right, I feel like I think I've spoken enough. I think there is other, so also you can listen. And also just the last piece of advice, I think, from the angels and from me is that you can listen, even if, let's say, Taurus is your sun sign and you don't have Virgo or Capricorn as any of the three, right, the main signs, you can still, if you feel, let's say, intuitively drawn to Capricorn, then please listen to Capricorn, because it may be something relevant. Probably first of all on your birth chart, so on your astrological chart. But even if you don't know your chart very well and your intuition draws you or like tells you, for example, and you see it on the screen, to listen to Capricorn, then trust it as well, right? Because there may be some message that needs to come through you and will help you answer maybe some of your questions. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to bore you with too much explanations. So now I'm just doing, so this will be the general portion, the general message for all the 3 earth signs, right? And then after that, guys, you can come back. There'll be specific and separate messages for each of the signs. And well, so I think I will usually talk a little bit. So what I see from your cards, and I have basically 3 tarot cards. I've got one more, and then I have a kind of 3 clarifiers. But for you guys, I felt guided to also use another tarot deck, which is more traditional, let's say, representation of tarot. So I've got three angel tarot cards, and I've got 3 clarifiers for you guys. There is an aspect of a masculine, let's say, aspect of you. So even if you are a female, so if you're a woman or a man watching, it doesn't matter. And this is how I'm going to speak about it, I think. There are 2 different, so there's you've got King of Fire and King of Water. So, and I feel like there is so this aspect of you perhaps will be prominent and important for you perhaps to notice and to work with. So, and the King of Fire it's a lot to me it's about how you take action and how you, let's say, move forward on something, because fire is a lot about action, movement forward, right? And taking like a decision, but you want to move on that. And then you've got also King of Water, which on the other hand is like, how do you balance this with your own emotions, right? So the King of Water is like the introverted king, right? And how do you deal perhaps, and how do you perhaps heal your emotions and come back to emotional balance perhaps before you then take steps forward and outside of yourself, if that makes sense, right? Okay, I think this is all I want to say as general. Let me start with those. So the first, so you're reading, and the 3 cards are a little bit like past, present, future, but I've also asked that there's a bit of a story behind it, right? And I just wanted to remind you, and I might do it also always in the beginning, that I've also, because I always work with angels and archangels, and I usually before the reading, I meditate slowly, like a little bit, and then I ask archangels, and specifically Archangel Michael and Metatron, to be with me and with you guys, with the whole audience, and with the video, so that I can provide and I can deliver it as, let's say, as best experience for you guys, and as best guidance as I can, if that yeah. So just to let you know that I've already asked, and the angels are with us as well, right? And they'll be helping. And you can also receive, so if you decide to tune in with that, you may be receiving some guidance from them directly as well. All right, so yeah. So let's start. Just looking at the time. So your first card is King of Fire, and this actually comes with the Emperor card. Let me just show you this, because there's a bit of I think, a light issue. The Emperor card, number 4, but this card came reversed altogether. But so I think, I feel like you begin the year, so for you the messages, you begin the year with like strong, like you feel, I think you feel in your power in a way. It comes, okay, let me just, if I need to listen, okay, there's something that came to me like a strong empowerment levels that are coming through to you as well. I think, okay, let me just speak. I feel that you are feeling actually fairly empowered and fairly good about yourself. But with this card, the Emperor, especially in reversed, I would suggest that there is some lessons, okay, there are some lessons that you need to take around it as well, right? So it may be a lesson, for example, of self-confidence. And for you guys, actually, it does come like the self-confidence. You need to be kind of cautious, because sometimes you may be overly confident, and this can come up even as aggression sometimes. And remember that aggression doesn't have to be like a very strong aggression, but you may be aggressive with words, for example, unnecessarily, and then maybe regret it, right? So I think one aspect that comes with this, that pay attention that while you feel good, like you feel empowered in a certain way at the start of the year, I feel like there may be lessons that are coming in, and you are being asked to continue to observe yourself and understand yourself, let's say your confidence levels, right? So your confidence, and something that is prominent that comes to be, some of you have slightly let's say, overstated confidence. I would say you may feel very confident, but if this comes up, let's say if you get negative feedback from people or it comes up too strong, then remember that your confidence is based in ego, right? If that makes sense, which means that your confidence isn't coming from the heart, and it's not coming from a balanced also space of mind, right? So this does mean that you are perhaps not doing things in the right way, or you are not acting towards, let's say, other people in the right way. So I think this is one of the messages. As I mentioned at the beginning, because you've got the King of Fire and King of Water, which is the next card. So I feel like perhaps through the whole year, at certain times, and obviously different for different people, you will experience something perhaps that will. So I think this is a message for people, I believe, for most people who are at least more aware or a little bit awake already, and you have been perhaps, guys, doing some inner work, right? Some shadow work, meditation, right? So that it makes you more aware. And I think that there'll be some situations, perhaps in relationships or otherwise, which will show you how you, so this is again the fire, how you act, and how you act, let's say, outside of yourself. But on the other hand, how do you process your own emotions, perhaps release the anger, maybe release the fear, and then come back to balance, so that you can still act as your confident self, but perhaps applying a little bit more compassion, right? And more compassion to others. But I feel like it's also about you. The more you get compassionate with yourself, then you will also be, let's say, more balanced and more compassionate with other people. Yeah, so I think the King of Fire is perhaps, and especially when the Emperor, with the Emperor card in reverse, I think this is the main message. So the Emperor is also, in a positive aspect of it, is like he's the King of Kings, right? So it could also be, I don't know if it's so important. I think it's more the internal message, but this could also manifest as, for example, I don't know, some people in high positions, like managerial positions around you, in your business. It could be you. Let me just, but I feel like it's kind of external as well, but it's like external, something that is manifested outside of you, but it's teaching you like quite a big lesson, let's say, or some lessons about your own self, right? And let's say about your own power, about your own ego, again, about your own perhaps confidence, and how you perhaps project or how you act with that, right? And that's why I think the emotional component, which I will talk in a moment about, is also important, right? Because also if you are overly confident, it does mean also that you have a lot of fear inside of you, because people who are overly confident, they just suppress everything. And they may think that they have no insecurities, and it's very often on the opposite, right? Yeah, so I think King of Fire is just, it's all about action, but it's more about, I feel like for you, the message is about more just going a little bit inwards, doing the inner work and observing yourself, and just being more aware of how, like, why you acted this way, or how you are, like, yeah, and why perhaps your emotions led you to act maybe too strongly, because this is the masculine, so you can sometimes project too quickly. But you will have, and obviously you will need to, I feel like you will need to learn some lessons, right? But I feel like on the positive side, it's all about you as well, and understanding yourself better, right? And how you can perhaps balance yourself a bit better. All right, the second, now we've got the second, so this is like the center of your reading, let's say, the second set of cards. And then here you've got your King of Water, the King of Water that I've already spoken about. And this is with Nine of Air. So I think with those two cards, and they do come, let me just show you straight away. I've got actually two reversals here, and one is, oh yeah, you can see it now. One is the Chariot, and then you've got the Eight of Swords. And I will talk in a moment about it. So the King of Water, I think I feel like I don't need to repeat the message, but it is a lot about how you handle your own emotions, how you understand your emotions, and then how you balance your emotions, and then how you apply yourself perhaps towards other people, or any other situations, right? But bearing in mind that the emotions are there, right? That the emotions are inside of you, and you need to be aware of them, and you kind of need to take a bit of responsibility. You need to work with them to feel better also, and to feel balanced, and perhaps not to feel, I don't know, now it's kind of like not to feel perhaps victimized by others, or not to feel down because of something, right? I wanted also to say that because Saturn, in terms of astrology, is moving into Pisces, in the early March. And I think Pisces is, obviously, it's quite a deep sign, but it's also the water element, which is emotions. And I think perhaps for you guys, it's also, so there may be some lessons to become more aware about yourself and your emotions and how you handle them. With the Nine of Air, so this is the card very often, which is a lot, which kind of pertains to, for example, worries, fears, anxieties. So that's, but it's also, but this is air. So the air is the Swords, which is a lot about also mental activity, right? But as you perhaps know, guys, or I can remind you that obviously everything is interconnected. So your mind, your thoughts will, let's say, instigate emotions are interconnected, and vice versa, emotions will be connected to your thoughts, right? And I feel like this just points out that there will be some negative aspects perhaps within you that will be obviously examined or re-examined during the year, and also through various situations that you need to go through. And I think you are being requested to simply, so the King of Water is the king, he's like this, let's say, the psychologist, right? To work with yourself. So, and to be proactive also, to make sure that you take time for yourself, that maybe you don't rush with things, because again, the king, the masculine, can be a little bit too fast sometimes, right? So balance it, so the feminine is a little bit more passive and more withdrawn, right? And I think you are being requested to, yeah, just to pay attention to that, right? And to maybe not necessarily balance. I mean, of course, the balance between the feminine and the masculine is always important, but okay, the main message is working with your emotions will be for your best and highest good throughout probably most of the year, if not the whole year. And it will manifest, so, and at different and various different intervals of time, I would say, during the year, right? Yeah, which then will be brought by other people or by situations. Yeah, so just please do that. I would say, okay, the message is do the inner work, right? Do your healing work, do your meditation practice, so that you can get to know yourself better. And with this, so you've got those two clarifying cards, but let me just start with the Chariot. So the Chariot card actually came a little bit like, came actually this way a little bit. So it was showing me that it wasn't necessarily reversed, but that you have also the power to, but let's say if it was reversed, it seems like you feel a little bit actually powerless, or you feel like you've given the power away, for example, and the situation didn't go the right way, for example, or something like that. Sorry, I'm just thinking, but I think the Chariot, the message from it, or the Chariot, said that you have the power and also the ability to make sure that you can balance your circumstances, but by balancing yourself. So again, for those, I wanted to say, who are already aware of it and who have been working with yourself, perhaps you also have worked with law of attraction, with an understanding that our emotions and thoughts can also manifest in the external environment, right? And in the external life. So I think it's the same message with, as I said, with the King of Water. It's an understanding. So learning, perhaps you guys, you will perhaps be learning throughout the year about the fact that by balancing yourself and balancing your emotions and your mind, you can then also balance, let's say, your external circumstances, right? And the Chariot is very often a lot about, let's say, you've got like the dark and the gold. Here's the golden, but very often is the white and the dark horse, for example. Yeah, so it's also, let's say, balancing masculine and feminine, or balancing like the two opposing forces, right? Or balancing the light and the dark inside of you. But I feel like it's the second time when the energy draws me inwards. So you perhaps, rather than being, because the masculine energy, right, is a lot more outward, the feminine is the inward one, and you are being actually requested with the whole guidance that you go inwards. You always take time for yourself and do your practice, meditation, healing, any practice that you do. I feel like I don't need to tell you anyway, any practice that you do to make sure that you balance yourself first, right? And I think, and the King of, and then you've got this, so the Chariot, and this came with actually the Eight of Swords, but in the reversal. And in this aspect, as I've spoken with Chariot, I feel like this is actually a positive message, and it's just telling you that you are coming out of something, and you are releasing. So in terms of perhaps what is happening, let me just tune in also, because I just want to make sure that it all makes sense. It feels definitely like releasing something from the past that maybe you weren't fully aware of, but something that was making you, let's say, a little bit blocked or stuck, right? And that's, as you can see, right, she's like surrounded by the swords, and she feels like she has no way out, let's say. But I feel like that's over now, right? So wherever you felt disempowered, or wherever you felt powerless, or like you felt, for example, that there was no way out of the situation because you couldn't see it. So I feel like this is done for you in a way, or this was happening in the past. And in this year, you will be able to release something. You will be able to see even more clearly and release something, or release this kind of situation. It may be a process, I wanted to say, and also the process and also of doing the inner work, right? And perhaps learning and understanding how, by working with your own, with the inner self, and with, let's say, release with your own emotions, again, you can perhaps move forward in life as well, in an I would say in an easier way. So you perhaps don't need to feel overwhelmed, overloaded by the feeling again, like, oh gosh, I'm stuck again, for example, right? And to be honest, like, I have compassion. I know how these guys, because I had periods, not this year maybe, but like in the past year, I had periods of time where I felt really stuck, and I kind of felt like I just whatever I did, I couldn't move on at all. But this is exactly where I had to do a lot of inner work, really a lot of healing, and sometimes day after day. And maybe that's why the advice is coming through me, right? But just, I would say, maybe don't take it in the wrong way. It's like, I think that the advice is in general that you have the power and you have the ability, but you are being advised to make sure that you pay attention to it. You pay attention to your emotions, and that there are emotions inside of you, right? And you can work with them, be gentle with yourself. So it's kind of, it feels like it's a bit like an awareness shifting perhaps exercise, or yeah. And you will be, yeah, and I think I'm just asking, the angels are saying that you will be prepared for it, but it's just like, if you take this message as a heads up for you, it will be easier for you to understand when things come, let's say, really tight, or you may feel stuck again. If you remember the message, so the angels are saying that's why the message is like, that's why, for example, the readers like me are there, the therapists, or even the angels, just to come back and remind you that you have the power and you have the ability to release something from within and then move forward, right? All right. And the last message, and this is, so that's actually a little bit, it's not contradicting, let me just know. It's actually, so this is the message, I think it probably relates I've already probably spoken on that. It's Eight of Air, which actually is the same card, but it's just from a different deck as the Eight of Swords, right? And I've talked about, so this card was telling me that you will be releasing something, and release this aspect of stuckness and blockages from the past that you felt you couldn't have, let's say, control over at all. And I think this card, because this is the angel card, and they sometimes come in a different way, like more as an advice. And I think this card is also telling you that it's probably the same message. You will need to, you are kind of responsible, that you take, I feel like there's a lot of awareness shifting for you, that actually you can release this, that whatever, so again, whatever you feel stuck, that you have the responsibility for yourself, right? That try not to perhaps blame or project it on other people, that someone took it away or someone did that. I know it's easy. I mean, I felt it. We feel sometimes like a victim, right? Or like we feel some self-pity, and that's okay. One of actually my therapists, or who I watch, she's sometimes say it's okay to feel self-pity, but she always says, feel it, do something about it, and don't stay there too long, right? Because you don't want to go down. You know, pity is a negative emotion, right? And it can draw you down very easily, so you don't want to go downwards, right? So I feel like this card is a confirmation that you will be asked, and you will have opportunities, but you will be asked perhaps even by your own spirit, right? And spirit guides to work with yourself, and to remember that you can release this. You don't have to be so constrained, right? You can release it. You can feel better about yourself. And this is also about, so this comes actually with the Three of Swords, normally, which is upward. It came as reversed. And I think this is also about your wounds, right? Some hurts, perhaps, again, feeling like people have been maybe hurting you in the past and you didn't understand why. Yeah, so that's, I think this is just a message. So anything that comes up, it could be, I think for you, because I mentioned a lot about people, right? So it may be relationships, but it may be also relationships at workplace, for example, that people do. Some people who you don't even, let's say, relate to, but they do something and then it feels hurtful to you. So I would say that, remember that this, so again, it's a lot about emotions as well. So if you feel hurt, it does mean that there is some unhealed, okay, so there is unhealed wound inside of you. So this is the message. And also there are some unhealed emotions inside of you, but they are only waiting to be released. And I think that's why I will stress it again. That's why, like, this is this theme, right? That you are being continuously reminded that you have the power over it, or you can regain it. Like, you can, maybe not that you have, but you have the control. Like you have, let's say, the power to release something from within, and you need to trust it, that by releasing it. And also sometimes you need to give yourself some space, right? A bit of time. Find a way to release it that works for you also, because there are many methods for healing and releasing emotions, right? So find find a way that works for you. But again, the reminder is that you can do it. You have the power inside of you to do it, to release emotions, to release perhaps also negative thinking patterns, and then perhaps allowing some rest, because after healing we do need to allow some rest. We need to kind of like allow the energy to readjust, but then you will feel more free. You will definitely will feel, yeah, you will feel more free. And I think you will also be able to even, like, once there is a relief, right, you will be also able to feel like, okay, I can move on actually, or I can do something about it. And there may be even, like, I don't know, sudden awakenings or sudden solutions coming to you, right, to say, boom, this is what you can do, and you don't have to be, let's say, stuck like you were, I don't know, in the past, right? Okay, I think, guys, this is it for the moment, for this message, I think. And I still want to draw perhaps some 2 or 3 oracle cards just as an extra message, perhaps maybe a little bit more random from 2 other decks. Oh, okay, I think I'm going to start. Let me start, guys, with the, oh. Okay, I think I'm going to use those 2 then. Okay, fine. Let me let me start, because I've got an angel deck for you, but I have a deck which actually is this deck was actually asking me to work quite a lot with it. That's an animal, well, she calls it spirit animal oracle deck, or I would say animal spirit guides, right? But maybe just because I'm learning, I love animals, and I'm still learning, because it's not my expertise, right? But I love to kind of learn and know how they help me sometimes, and you know, and I sometimes send them some healing as well, right, as a thank you. Yeah, so let me see. Okay, so let me just draw a couple of cards for my earth signs. My earth signs for the year 2023. What's the advice, please? Okay. The angels, I feel like they are already telling me to trust it. So you've got squirrel and spider. Make your dream. Okay, so let me start. Okay, so let me start with, you've got 3 cards, but I think I will talk about them kind of a bit separate. The first one is Bobcat Spirit, and it says life is a mystery. I think that's a bit of this bobcat, obviously it's an energy of a cat, and cat is a lot about mystery and sometimes a bit of secrecy. I think the message is kind of deeper for you guys, yes, to remember, and I think it's exactly as it says, that life is a mystery, but it's also a positive. Like if you felt perhaps negative because things were hidden from you or something like that, then I would say that this is a positive spin on it. Remember that life is a mystery, but there is a reason for it. And perhaps the more also you surrender, I don't know, it comes, okay, let me just channel this. It's the more you surrender, let's say, to the mystery of all, but knowing and having faith that things are going to work out the best for you, and also for other people, but for you, for example, and for yourself, right? Then it will be all fine, and it will come back up in a positive way for you, right? So if you have at the beginning, because that's the beginning of the year energy, right? So I'm feeling, so you may be feeling negative about it, trust it. But I would also say that this is like a spiritual message and component. It's a deeper, that its life is a mystery, but continue. You need to have faith also and have trust in the whole, let's say the world establishment. You need to have faith in God, spirit, and also in the universe, that you are provided, yeah, that they are protecting you as well, right? Yeah, so I would suggest remember that. Let me just go with this one. Then you've got the squirrel spirit, and the squirrel spirit, for example, says believe in yourself. Here, even though I think squirrels do represent slightly, it's a different aspect about squirrel, because they represent abundance and also how you manage your own, let's say, resources. But I think here it does say believe in yourself, and let me just go with whatever I'm feeling, right? I prefer that. So, and just because with this message, I felt this life, like I felt that you guys are a little bit, either you are in a lower place, maybe emotionally, or something happened that made you doubt a lot. Anyway, just made you doubtful about like what is happening and why perhaps there is so much perhaps suffering or maybe pain. Maybe you've gone through difficult situations. I would say we all have, guys, right? But remember that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, right? And you will definitely come out of it. So I think the squirrel spirit here, it does say believe in yourself. So it's the faith. I was talking that you continue to have faith, please. Have faith in God, in the angels, in spirit guides, in spirit also, and the universe, that you are always protected, and you will always be guided, no matter what, no matter even how low, no matter how low, let's say, you feel about yourself or about the situation. So I think the squirrels, I don't know, they do come. They're sometimes a little bit playful animals to me. Like I have actually squirrels now around me where I live. And I feel like sometimes they just come to me to kind of make me laugh a little bit, or just like to uplift me, right? Even though sometimes they bring me a message. And I would say it is about I feel like it's believe in yourself. It may be also a message. Maybe again, there'll be different stages. You are being asked to do the inner work and to do there's a block, if I want to say a healing work, but do your inner work to make sure that you uplift yourself and you understand your emotions, right? And once you can transform your emotions, then also the belief in yourself and believe in, let's say, in the good in the world, right? And in the good inside of you is going to be amplified, let's say, right? And it will help you. And then you've got sorry, I just don't want to, and then you've got the spider spirit. Yeah, I'm just trying to tune in. Yeah, I think this is the main message, right? So I'm not going to go further. And this is the spider spirit. And then this one says, make your dreams real. Okay, and this one comes to me actually while you may have had some doubts, or maybe you feel like some things are hidden and you may feel like, oh gosh, I'll never get there perhaps. You may not see everything clearly into the future. But I think the spider spirit is actually also a confirmation that you have. So the spider actually is the feminine, but is the creative side of you. As a spirit, it does come, it's actually a lighter message for you. And then please trust it, trust spirit, trust God, and also trust that you can co-create and recreate your life, right? Or any situations that have been really difficult in you. So again, we had the Eight of Swords, right? If you felt, let's say, or if you felt stuck in the past at any different points in time, and then you felt like there was no way out, then I would say, remember that in this year is bringing you the energy that you will be able to release that. You will be able to release, yeah. So by doing the inner, again, they are reminding you, by doing the inner work, you'll be able to release even the feeling of stuckness. Because the more you release the feeling and the emotions underneath that, then the more you will feel better and you will feel free, right? And this is when you can move on and find better solutions, let's say, right? And I think the spider spirit here, so I would say make your dreams real, but I think your dreams will come true, please, and just believe in that. As the squirrel says, believe in yourself, believe in your dreams as well, and the fact that they will come true. But also spider here, I feel like the spider message is that you can co-create it, and you can also recreate it. So you can recreate and transform something that wasn't working, something that was stuck, blocked, a negative. You can transform it by transforming yourself, working with yourself and your emotions, right? And then you can manifest better and recreate and co-create with spirit as well. All right, so creativity also comes through. Yeah, I'm just checking the time. I don't want this to be a very long message. And then, so let me just take one last card from the angels. So this is the Angel Guide deck by Kyle Gray. Sorry guys, you see, I'm also having, sometimes it's funny just to let you know that and I feel heaviness today, like I'm doing readings, and this is when I'm sensitive to perhaps my and your energy, guys. I have, for example, Taurus as my ascendant. I have like Aries, Taurus, but Taurus is a major lesson, let's say, for me. And I feel a little bit like, I feel actually heavy inside of my heart as well. So of course this applies perhaps a little bit to me, but I would just say have faith, guys, right? Yeah, strength and guidance. So the message here from the angelic, this is the angelic deck. It's strength and guidance. I would say, because this card comes up, but you see, like there's like, you can see the darkness. So I feel like, but then inside, look how much light this man, let's say, or this person, let's say, has inside of them, right? And I feel like maybe this is exactly the message for you. Even if you think that maybe there is darkness outside of you, so again, perhaps you've been going through some difficulties, or it's a specific situation that makes you feel that way. Gosh, that it's so dark, and then, well, I will never come out of it, maybe. Then look what's on the inside. I would say so much light inside of the heart, and even all the chakras, right? At least the major. I think it's the main point is like that the center of you is full of light. So remember that you are a human being. So you are you are a spiritual person, right, born into a human body, right? So remember that always in the center, in the core of you, there's always light and there is always God, right? Or there's always spirit. And you are born also from spirit. You just come down to have a human experience, right? So I think that's all. So the strength and guidance, I feel like, please, like the more you connect with yourself, the more you connect perhaps with your spiritual guidance, the more you connect with some aspect of spirituality, and you do your inner work, you work to understand your emotions better. I think this is, again, this is the message that was coming through all the messages, to understand yourself and your emotions better. Then you will start to feel better. You will connect easier with the light inside of you. And then the light inside of you, let's say, will propel, I would say will propel you forwards, or will help you perhaps maybe even move things forward or push things forward if you have to, right? So trust it, please, and not just trust yourself, and trust the inner light, I would say. All right, guys. Okay, I think, thank you. I think this is it. These are your general messages for all the 3 earth signs. Thank you very much for being here and for watching my video. I hope these messages have been helpful, and they will help you throughout the year sometime. Yeah, please hit the like button, the subscribe. Yeah, and actually, I don't want to end this. Subscribe to my channel if you can. I would be very grateful. And perhaps before I leave you, I just wanted to say that I will see you. So obviously the next 3 messages will be the specific messages for each of the earth signs. And I hope to see you in one of these messages. So please continue to go ahead and watch those, right? Okay, so see you in a sec. Hello, beautiful Taurus. This will be your portion of this reading, of this whole general reading for the year ahead, for the year 2023. As I've, please do, I hope, please do listen perhaps to the first video of this whole, let's say, the whole big video for the earth signs. Where there are general messages for all the 3 of you guys, for the 3 earth signs. And now this message is the specific, is the separate message only for Taurus people, and it will apply to you if Taurus is your ascendant, your sun sign, your moon sign, or also perhaps it will apply if you know like where Taurus perhaps falls in your chart, right? If you know your chart, or if you are intuitively let's say drawn to the video and to the message perhaps after listening to the first general message video. Yeah, and I think let's just go ahead and get started. I have the same kind of setup. I mean, I've got also 3 cards as previously, so I've got 3 angel cards, and I've also got 3 clarifier cards from a different tarot deck for you guys, and then I will also pull perhaps a few, let's say, oracle cards from 2 different oracle decks, just to give you some extra, let's say, guidance and extra messages. All right, so let's start. Sometimes I start with like a general message and overview. I would probably, okay, I'm just liking, so the High Priestess looks at me straight away. I would suggest that there is an aspect of spirituality for you guys, which is important and will be important throughout the year. I think one aspect, one thing is a spiritual practice of some sort. But I would also say that there is also an importance of doing your own inner work and and for example, contemplative work as well, which again can be seen like it could be part of your spiritual practice, but it's also perhaps on top of it is a bit of a therapeutic practice. But you are being perhaps asked also to connect always with spirit, God, universe. So the spiritual when you do this, so the spiritual component will be very important for you guys. Let me start right away with the first card. The first card comes as life experience, so that's number 16, and that's the Tower card in the traditional deck. I will speak to that. Actually, you have one thing that I want to tell you, that you have the 3 angel tarot cards are all major arcana cards. So I would suggest that the message, so obviously there is something important perhaps that let's say that wants to happen for you guys during the year, right, or throughout the year. And I think the major arcana cards usually point out to some major lessons, sometimes major turn, like major changes in your life, or major, it comes like a major turnarounds as well, or yeah, like, or a turnaround of a situation perhaps, right? um yeah, so just take it, so it kind of, I would say that there's some importance in this message for you guys, right? And something that is also, I would say, inevitable, right? Uh, so it's kind of like the fated part of, for those you who know what is like the fated part of thing. But with the major arcana, we will get obviously guidance for you guys so that you know how to handle it in the best possible way. And here I want to also show you that this comes with the star card. Yeah, my camera is not always, yeah, so the star card. And I think that the star, while the tower card, and I feel like some of you may be a bit like it's a shaky moment and might be difficult. I feel like some of you, perhaps maybe you are watching it and you know that the tower card, some people kind of are scared of it, or some people like get nervous when the tower card comes out. And to be honest, it is probably not the easiest card in tarot, but it's always important to look at what is the message there, right? And what are the cards around surrounding the message, right? Or the card. So I would say that the star card here brings me right away. I will talk in a moment, some aspect of positivity, to remember that you are that you are protected by God and by spirit, by universe, that you are on the right path as well, right? And there is a lot of, or you have a lot of, there's light inside of you, and there is also light outside. And yeah, and follow this light, please. So I said that I feel like this is the message. So this brings me back to this life, to this tower kind of moments, or so. This is, I think one thing is that this card is a little bit from the past already, or maybe something used to happen. Okay, so one message is that something, perhaps there were some things in the past, maybe even your distant past, that would happen unexpectedly, and maybe they brought you into, let's say, of a state of either feeling powerless, or you felt perhaps a little bit, let's say, victimized, or you felt hurt by these kind of events. And they would happen, so that with the tower, with the life experience, is something that perhaps would come quickly but also unexpectedly, and surprises you or shocks you sometimes, right? But I feel like, so this was but I feel like this is the distant past, or the past, right? Then I feel like in the more recent past, you started to work with that, and perhaps, yeah, so you started to work with understanding why things are happening this way, and how you can perhaps, how you can either prevent them, or how you can be a co-creator in the process, or how you can make sure that you perhaps turn it, that even if it happens, that how you can turn it for the best, right? For your highest good, and for your, let's say best interest, I would say, right? Or for your good. And I think you've been learning about this. And I think it is like you were learning also how to, let's say, turn around, let's say this let's say circumstance, right? And by turning around, I mean like to work with this, or to apply, let's say, new solutions, yeah, in order to make it better for yourself, right? So just not, so even so sometimes things just happen. It's sometimes a fated, as I said, it's a fated thing. We created that probably somewhere in the past, distant past, maybe past lives, and it happens very often to help you, actually, to release you from it, right? So to release you actually from, it's funny because sometimes sometimes we're actually scared, and the bottom, let's say the bottom, or the underlying, let's say, emotion is fear, which blocks us. And then very often when the tower moment, so it's like, for example, Uranus power, right? When it strikes in our life, it's actually, it releases us from the fear, and it releases us from, let's say, the stuckness or the blockage, right? Yeah, and I think the message here is that, but please remember, so whatever has been happening, I think that it's not necessary that it will be, I feel like there will be some resurfacing of that during the year. I don't think, because this is more towards the past, and I feel like you have already been learning how to understand it and how to turn it around, even from a spiritual perspective, to understand that if it happens, it was for a reason already, and you can only deal with this. But it was also very often, it was actually for your highest good as well, right? So whatever happened, yeah, and I feel like I don't need to, the angels are saying, I feel like I don't need to perhaps maybe explain more. Many of you will understand it. So there'll be kind of like a bit of a theme. There'll be something that is like residue, let's say, that comes from the past. So you may have some fears sometimes. Some things may happen maybe unexpectedly, or you may only have a fear of this. But I feel like, I would say that, okay, whatever happened, it happened to put you, okay, first of all, to put you on the right path, right? So even if something happened, and for example, you had to, I don't know, even if it happened and it caused you that you had to, I don't know, change jobs or move out of one flat or a home and move to another one, then I think the message is remember that it was for your highest good and it happened for a reason and it happened for you, so not against you, right? And it was also a universal help, so it was, let's say, the help from God and universe to, let's say, push you a bit forward or move you forward onto the better path for you, so that like better circumstance or better better situation, better thing for you, if that makes sense, right? So better job or better home or anything like this. And I think this is okay. I feel like this is the main message here, right? So just remember that whatever happened in the past, it was for you and it was to move you forward, and to see it perhaps more positively, so that you don't need to be perhaps scared. I think don't be scared. You don't have to be scared that it will repeat itself, right? Yeah. And I don't know. Okay, I think I will stop here because I don't know what's the other message. But then okay, I think this is probably more important now. This is your center. This is the center of your reading, which is the Unity card in this deck, but it's also the Hierophant card in the traditional tarot, right? So it's the same card, and it comes actually with the Knight of Swords. So first of all, I think this reminds me. So this is what I've mentioned. Spiritual practice, and perhaps you seeking some spiritual organizations are coming here, or spiritually based, yeah, like spiritually based, let's say, places, organizations, spiritual practice, and also like-minded people. So spiritually and like-minded people. This is what this card represents for you, I feel. And I think this will be something, so let's say, as opposed to maybe you used to have, as opposed to what used to happen perhaps, and you were like, and your fears perhaps, and things being just, let's say, turn over unexpectedly, or things happening unexpectedly. I feel like you can, if you can just join, for example, like applying your spiritual practice and joining perhaps some spiritual groups or spiritual organizations is going to help you with bring more faith to yourself, so uplift your heart, I feel, and also uplift your faith within you, right? So that you can actually have more faith also in this, let's say, in the invisible God, in the invisible power of the universe, that everything happens for a reason and there is a purpose to it, and perhaps there is no need to be scared, right? So it's also perhaps a way, so the spiritual side of things will help you also to release fear and to perhaps convert or transform fear into faith, right? And I would say that the faith, because it's the same like with the star card that you have had, actually, the star card, always, it's always about having faith and trust, basically also in the universe, right, and in God, that things are happening like for you and in the best way that they can sometimes. And I feel like, so this is, yeah, the message is about your spiritual practice and seeking spiritual groups and spiritual people, and even like friendships perhaps who are spiritually minded, because they will be helping you also to regain perhaps, or even reinstate this faith within you and to strengthen it, right? And then you will be able, and while you are moving forward, you'll be able, you'll be able to perhaps feel, I think it's a process during your year as well. So remember that maybe, yeah, it's a process perhaps of rebuilding faith inside of you, right? But I would say for certain situations, and maybe just don't be afraid of surprises, right? Or things that happen unexpectedly. Perhaps remember that there's always a bigger picture, and there is always something better for you. So God wouldn't, let's say, God or universe, God wouldn't want to hurt you this way, right? But this comes with the Knight of Swords, and I think Knight of Swords, to me, the first message was about communication. So I think that it's important. Okay, so it's important for you also to have these aspects of conversations perhaps, and communication with other people about it. So about faith, I think faith comes actually in strongly for you. So what do you believe in? But also the faith, I think, again, in the power of the universe and the power of God, right? And the fact that you are always protected, right? And also provided for, but protection, I think, is more important. So the aspect of faith and conversations and even engaging in communication. So this could also be, for example, I don't know, for example, Facebook groups, right? Because these, let's say, spiritual groups can also be online. They can be in the physical life, but they can also be online. And for example, being part of the spiritually based, let's say, Facebook group, and then being engaged with people, let's say, having conversations is going to help you a lot, I would say. It's going to help you also understand maybe some things from different perspective, and it's going to help you rebuild your faith, I would say, yes. And your trust, perhaps, again, in God, in the let's say, in the highest, let's say, source, right, of God, of universe, and things like that. All right, and actually, the last card. So it's interesting because the last card is the High Priestess, and this is also this is well always a highly spiritual card, at least for me. And it does come actually for you guys. Okay, let me just show you. You've got those two cards, which is Five of Cups and the Strength card. And in a moment, yeah, and I think it does relate also for you, perhaps working a little bit with your emotions. But coming back to the High Priestess, it's also a highly spiritual, let's say, person. I would just confirm that the spiritual practice is important for you. A spiritual person comes in here, so someone who can be your guide and a spiritual teacher. It could be in the form of a female or of a feminine. So perhaps you may want to seek a female spiritual teacher, right? And again, like that's just a message that comes in. So maybe the feminine, of course, there are male and female spiritual teachers, right? But perhaps by seeking and following as a female spiritual teacher, it will help you trust better. So you may have perhaps had some mother wounding, right? Mother wounds, and we all kind of have. So yeah, so seeking, so pay attention. I think this person will show up in your life, maybe in some of these groups that you join, perhaps. And she will be, it feels like in the heart that she will be trustworthy and you can trust her. And I think you will feel it, that there's like a light, let's say, beaming from her and from her heart. And you will be perhaps very interested and follow perhaps her teachings or listen to her for advice and things like that. And also, and I think so one thing is the female spiritual teacher. The second part is also your own spiritual practice, which will continue to be important. And I think also the spiritual, as I mentioned, the spiritual practice that comes with also with doing, let's say, the inner work, right? The work like working and the contemplative work as well, right? So these other aspects. And I think these cards, the clarifiers, only come to tell you that, like, the Five of Cups shows, the Five of Cups is always about, let's say, difficult emotions. It could be sadness, sorrow, even tears. But I actually feel a little bit of a depression, right? So if you suffered from depression in the past, or you've been healing perhaps, and you know what it is, I would suggest that this practice and the spiritual person is going to kind of help you throughout the year, right? And help you also with like, she will be able somehow to give you guidance and to guide you actually also, and guide you perhaps out of some perhaps darkness or something that you didn't see in your life. And it does, but this comes also with the strength, and the strength card is always to tell you that you've got the strength also to handle all of these emotions. You've got the strength to kind of rise above your depression, right? So you've got the strength to find all the methods, let's say, of healing, and let's say even a method of meditation to help you rise yourself above these emotions and heal them. And then kind of continue in your strength, right? With whatever it is that you want to do. So yeah, I would say you definitely have the strength. All right. Okay, so this is the main message. And I think I'm gonna have Rebecca. So I'm going to just take two different oracle cards for you guys. Yes. Just to, these messages are now coming out a bit longer because I did yesterday water signs and I tried to keep them around 15 minutes, but that's okay, guys. Like, I hope it is what it is, right? Yeah, it all depends. They're just telling me that it depends on the day, on the energies as well. It's your energy, guys, and it's probably my energy, how we connect. So this is for Taurus. So that's actually from Rebecca Campbell's deck. It's called Work Your Light, for those who want to know. Okay, and the message is you are already doing it. Stop overthinking, keep facing your true north. I would also suggest actually that's so it says you are already doing it. I think it's somehow, I feel like it's a confirmation. Maybe that's what I was saying. It's probably about your faith and about your spirituality. I feel like she's just confirming that you are already in it. You are already having faith. And I think so it's probably just, I don't know, maybe throughout the year, whatever, maybe it's just strengthening you up, right? So it's like anything that happens, maybe it's just testing you, right? And testing, but I feel like Rebecca is even like, I don't know, I sometimes connect, sorry guys, I just want to tell you that because sometimes when I use, obviously, people's decks, right? Oracle decks especially, I sometimes, especially if I like the person, I kind of connect sometimes with their spirit, and then I feel like as if the message, so I actually feel her smiling somehow and saying that you are already doing it, you have it inside of you, you already have the faith, right? You are already the light, and you have the light inside of you. So it's just like a confirmation. It's like kind of like again, like you see, like this is like the female spiritual teacher who is just like a little bit like the mother, like supporting you and telling you you have it in you, so I can just lift you up a bit. So let's just have it this way. And there'll be one more message, so let's take this message maybe a bit more. Okay, let's see what comes up. This is from numerology deck. Let me see. Okay, so this is for Taurus. Oh, and you've got a very nice card, leadership. So okay, so this is the, we didn't talk a lot about it, but let me just tune in. Okay, but this takes me straight away. So you see, so the color here is pink, the main, let's say the triangles, right? And I would say the leadership, so, but this card is telling me that the leadership is inside of you, right? That you are the leader. So I think it's actually more about also you saying that you are the leader of in your life and of your life, right? You create your life. You are, let's say, in the center of your life, and you have also the power to let's say recreate it if something wasn't going in the right way. So perhaps just remembering also, guys, that yeah, if things were outside of your control, right? The sudden happenings, the sudden changes that then would shock you, for example, or like put you, let's say, in a better, sorry, in a bad state of mind or something like that, it's coming, then remember that you are sorry, you are regaining yourself, you are regaining your power, right, and your faith. And I think this card just confirms, because this is the pink is a lot about the heart center, but it's also about love aspect. But so you are the leader of yourself, right? You have the leader inside of you, and you are the leader in your life. You have the capability, and also the message, I think, that you are also capable to step forward and perhaps move forward and move out of perhaps your fears from the past that would perhaps cause this this kind of bit of tower moments and shakeups. All right. And I feel like just accept it. And an unconditional love will be important. Love and unconditional for you, but have love for yourself first, I would suggest, right? And then remind yourself that you actually, you can do it. You are, let's say, the manager of your own life. You are the center of your life, and you'll be fine. All right. Okay, my dear Taurus, thank you for watching the video. I hope you find it useful and helpful, and of course do listen to this message perhaps maybe later on during the year, and then maybe it will bring you some reminders, right? Yeah, and I please do like, subscribe to my channel. I'll be very grateful, or share it with your friends, and I hope to see you soon in my future videos as well. Take care of yourselves. Bye. Hello, beautiful Virgo. This will be your reading and the portion of your reading for the year 2023, for the whole year. It will be yes, and it will be, so as I explained, please listen to the general message. So the first video in this whole, let's say, one big video for the earth signs. So this is, as I explained, the first big message is like it's a general reading and a general message for all three earth signs. And now I'm going to do, this is your specific reading for Virgo, and it will apply to you if Virgo is your sun sign, your moon sign, or sorry, or your ascendant sign. Or also it will apply if you are, let's say, intuitively drawn to this message, and this probably means that Virgo is somewhere perhaps important, or is somewhere in your chart where where maybe you will have some, I don't know, either an important lesson, or there are important messages for you to listen to them, and that represents, for example, Virgo in your birth, in your astrological chart, right, and in the area of life where you are at. All right, I think so. Please, as I said, the angels, the guidance from angels, from, if you can, from even in my the previous video was that if you can go ahead and listen to the general message for all the three earth signs, it perhaps will help you to perhaps combine the previous, like the general message and this specific message for you guys, so that perhaps you can apply, you can see the bigger, let's say, bigger picture or bigger sense of what of what the messages are, perhaps, right? I'm trying to obviously convey to you as a message from spirit. All right, so let's just go ahead and get started. I've got, as I say, I've got the same kind of setup, I would say. So I've got 3 tarot cards. These are angel tarot cards. I've got one more just because one more came out, and then I've got also clarifier cards, also 3, which came from a different tarot deck. And also I'm going to pull two different I'm going to take two different oracle cards, and I'm going to like take a few perhaps cards for you, just yes, just as an extra kind of perhaps maybe some random messages as well for the year. Yeah, just to obviously help you as best as I want to help you with the guidance, right? I would say, okay, so I start usually with the like just to give you perhaps the main overview of what perhaps may happen or what can be like a theme. And I think now I can see the magician. So the magician is actually your central point in the reading. And I think for you, it's about knowing and remembering that you are the magician. So you have the power, and you also have all the tools, let's say, and all the resources to manifest, let's say, things in life. So manifest positive outcomes in life, manifest anything that you want or what you are seeking. But also I feel also that it says that it also, you have also the power, let's say, all the tools and resources also to perhaps deal with, like, turn, let's say, the difficulties around in your favor, right? So just come out, so deal with the difficulties in such a way that you come out of them in a, let's say, in a positive light, right? And on a positive side of it. And then you perhaps will also, it feels like you will be able to perhaps close off some issues actually this year, maybe some issues that have been perhaps ongoing, or they have been in your life for perhaps quite a while, right? Maybe even more than a year or two for some of you. Yeah, and I think so. I think this is the main message. Yeah, and then just to remember that you are the one in the center and in the power of for doing this, right? Because you are the center of your life. Yeah, I'm just checking. So let's just go. So the first, but let's start. So this is like with the first message, which is a little bit like a past position, and you've got Page of Air, which is Page of Swords, and the Dreamer card, which is the full card in the traditional deck. You actually have the Page of Air, Page of Swords twice, because these are two clarifiers. I will show them straight away to you. So one came actually as the Moon, and this card came a little bit separately to give you a separate message, and also with the Page of Swords. And this Page of Swords, I just want you guys to see it. Hopefully my camera isn't focusing, I think, very well, but yeah. Anyway, Page of Swords. I feel like, actually, sorry guys, I know that I've been, but I think it's kind of an important message for you. So let me just start with this. I think this is, I feel like this is a part of you. So it represents you. It is, pages are very often students, or perhaps, and they need to, so they have, or perhaps somewhere where you have, let's say, less maturity inside of you. And please take it positively. We all need to grow, right? and kind of be grown-ups sometimes, so it's normal. Maybe some of you have been going through a healing process as well. So this is this part which kind of needs just, you know, it's kind of like growing up. But I'm really telling you this with love and compassion, that sometimes when we have, like, if we are wounded quite deeply, then this also is that part of us, right, that was perhaps disempowered, and we kind of need to learn and grow, right, but in a positive way. So I would say that this Page of Air is this part of you that was a little bit maybe immature, or maybe needed a lot of growth because of some situations, circumstances. But is that part of you that, okay, it feels like it will be coming out more on the surface. But this is, and also because Page of Air, so Page of Swords, this represents communication. So it's the way you speak, the way you communicate, right, and to other people perhaps, and about yourself, and also is the way you express yourself and express your, let's say, inner truth, right, and for example express the emotions that you are feeling. So there's a lot of, there are a few different, there are different, let's say, aspects of communications, but it is about you, and it is something that you've already started to learn this, or perhaps relearn this, right, in the past already, perhaps in the past year, maybe longer. Again, I feel like for many people who have been on a healing path and transformation, you are probably very aware of it, where you needed to learn how to communicate better. And I think this is, trust me, like I know, like that's a message. Like, we all have to learn how to communicate, and this is a lesson. I would say that there is no one person in the world that shouldn't take the lesson in communication, right? And everyone needs to learn this, and if everyone needs to improve it. And also, I would suggest that even if you are on a ascension path, right, or even if you, let's say, grow up and get more mature, you still need to always pay attention on how you communicate and how you can adjust the communications yeah, to make it better perhaps for yourself, but also for others, right? To just make it more balanced, I would say, right? Yeah, so I would say please take it. I think it's a positive message in general, but it's a lot about how you communicate, how you express yourself. So the Page of Swords, that's why it came probably twice as a message to tell you that you are that let's say that learning, that students, that it continues to learn. But take it, I feel like there's a lot of love around this aspect. Take it positively, maybe be lighter about it, like don't worry too much also, and pay attention, and I think you will continue to learn something. And I think the Dreamer, so actually the Dreamer, this is the full card traditionally, and I actually feel like that this brings also like the lightness to this message, right? That you are the Page of Air, that maybe allow yourself to be the fool sometimes, right? But like the good fool, I would say, right? So of course you don't want to be foolish, and no, it's not about that. But it's also in communications with other people, perhaps allow yourself a bit more freedom, right? Try to express. I feel like most of you or many of you have already the inner balance, and you have the awareness, right? So which means that you know that you don't want to, let's say, communicate your anger straight away. You'd rather detach, heal, and then come back with a balanced position, right? Or balanced words. So I feel like actually the message is also allow yourself also to communicate more freely, right? And just, yeah, and communicate maybe a little bit more than you used to, and just test the waters as well, right? And I think that throughout the year you probably will have some situations which perhaps will test you, but maybe show you also how you can communicate better, right? And use them to learn. Please continue to use them to learn. I think you had that, I'm just looking at the clock, you had the moon, yeah, sorry guys, I just, because I don't want to, I just caught myself that I don't want to, because sometimes I watch the clock just to make sure that the messages are usually around 15-17 minutes, but sometimes there is more. I know the angels told me that if there is more words that I need to speak, you see the communications I have, anyway, Virgo also in my chart, so obviously I have been also learning how to communicate better, right? And the angel said also to me that if I need to say more, sometimes the messages need to be perhaps longer, or I need to explain a bit more, right? Yeah, I'm just letting you know, because I want to be positive myself. The moon card, I felt when I took this card felt a little bit strange, and the moon is a lot about things hidden, things not being visible, things kind of underneath the surface, things that we can actually feel or intuit, right? So intuitively we can feel sometimes even negativities, but then they are not always spoken about. But you see, but I feel like that this communication, so you will be perhaps learning, and I think you will be growing from that page, because then you've got the stages of being the knight and the queen or a king, right? And I feel like that there'll be growth. So you'll be growing out of that page into being much more, let's say, mature communicator and steady. So you will be probably growing into the knight, or maybe into, let's say, the queen or the king. And I feel like it may happen throughout the year, or maybe it will continue to, let's say, towards 2024 as well. But I feel like there's a lot of growth with that. You'll be kind of, yeah, you'll be getting better, perhaps a little bit more mature, I would say. But this is how it's coming, right? So I don't know. Yeah, that's how it is. Not offending anyone. Yeah, I wanted to say I don't want to offend anyone, but you see, I need to, because sometimes the words are strong, and when I channel them, like I can't block them out. So I'm just telling you how I'm reading. And the moon card just says that perhaps by learning how to communicate better, you'll be able to clarify or clear some of your fears and worries, that things were hidden and maybe not spoken about properly, right? But I feel like, yeah, I feel like you are, let's say, also this is a bit of like maybe applying, being a bit wise about it as well, right? And maybe not worrying like too much about when people don't want to communicate, right? All right, let's just, yeah. Now the center, I think that's also most important card. The center is the Magician card. And the Magician card actually comes with, let me show you these two cards. I hope it's not too cool. One is the Ace of Pentacles, and I feel it's a very positive message that there's like a new beginning, new start. In the material world, it could be an offer or some opportunities coming to you. And again, throughout the year, so at any point in time in the year, they will be material, but it could be something like, for example, some opportunities in your new business, for example, or in the new on the career, or like a new career path. It's kind of opportunities. I wouldn't say that it's like but some of you may have already started a new career path, right? So many opportunities, positive, and they will help you. So this card is Six of Pentacles, right? But it came reversed with that, and I feel like these opportunities, and with the Magician card, which I've already mentioned a bit, that you have. So the Magician is that you are you have all the power and tools and resources to create your life the way you want, or recreate it, right, from perhaps some past issues. And this specifically tells me that you will be recreating some aspects of material imbalances and financial. I think this is how it's coming. It's mainly material and financial imbalances. Um, Again, different, right? Debt, your income not being high enough, and things like that. So I think the Ace of Pentacles is just showing me that it's a positive beginning, and there'll be opportunities throughout the year so that you can, let's say, correct this imbalance. So this is the Six of Pentacles is about, let's say, the giving and receiving as well, right? And I would probably say imbalance is the right word, and it will just apply to you. Yeah, you know, perhaps the way it applies to you, right? So I don't think that I need to, sorry guys, I feel like I'm shaking a lot with these cards. Yeah, so you will have opportunities, and I would say the Magician is telling you that you have the strength, the power, and all the tools in order to correct those imbalances, right? So the Six of Pentacles is like when if you had a block in receiving, for example, a higher income, then you will have opportunities to correct it and then bring about, let's say, the result, right? So to bring about the higher income for yourself, right? By any means, either in your own business or in the career, in the new career path, or perhaps asking for a pay rise and things like that. So I think the Magician, just coming back to the main card, it's just a confirmation that you are also the center of your life. You shouldn't feel, for example, worried or sorry in any way that you shouldn't ask, perhaps, and this is for more money, or you shouldn't perhaps try to manifest a higher income in your business. There's nothing to worry about. This would be your old belief systems, right? Like outdated belief systems inside of you. But let me just come back that the Magician is reminding you that you are in the center of your life. You are a co-creator, so co-creator with Spirit, God, also with the universe, right? And then with the environment as well. But you also have the power to create, to, as I said, co-create, but also recreate something that wasn't working in the past. And you have all the tools, or you will be perhaps given, definitely, you will be given all the tools and resources that you need throughout the year. You'll be able to perhaps go and get them, right? So you will be able to find all the tools, and you'll be given, I feel like this is like from Spirit, you'll be given all the tools in order to help you with that. All right, and I think, and the last card is actually Four of Fire, and this talks now about, actually this talks about an aspect of stability in life. And we've spoken about communication. So you actually, your messages, they're not random. I think they're all interrelated, but we talked about you learning how to communicate better. It probably is then part of you correcting these immaterial imbalances. It may be part of that as well. As I said, you are allowed, and you definitely should go and ask for a pay rise, right? Or go ahead and, I don't know, try to raise your income in your business, somehow scale it up. And I think so for the first, I think message is about stability in your life. I think more stability is coming to you, right? I feel like that you are already in a good place, in a fairly, okay, let's say, I would say it's in a fairly good place at the start of the year, but I feel like throughout the year, through also correcting maybe these imbalances, and manifesting. So the Magician is also about manifesting what you wish or what you want and what you desire. And throughout the year, through all these opportunities and your manifestation effort, you will feel more grounded, perhaps more centered also, and this will bring you more stability, right? And I think that it will be stability inside of you, but also stability perhaps reflected already in a material world. I feel like there'll be more to do even at the end, let's say by the end of the year, there'll be more to do. So it doesn't mean that you will be perfect, but I think you will feel definitely more stable in life, and stable also materially and in your finances, even though you will know that there's a little bit more work to be done. And this comes actually, so we've got the Queen. There's someone who wants to help you, I feel, or I don't know, but this person is a little immature. The way I saw it, the way this came to me, I don't know if you can see it. So you are the Queen of Cups, and I think the Queen of Cups is also asking you, she's like the subtle, the gentle soul, right? And she's also the one that recognizes the emotions. And I kind of wanted to say that even though this card does confirm stability, and also it's also stability actually around your home and perhaps even around your business, this is how it feels, or perhaps your career path, she's just confirming and asking you that pay attention, like there are subtle aspects of life, right? And also she's just also reaffirming that pay attention also to your emotions, right? And to the subtle part of you, because it's also important with that. Right, so I feel like that's a bit, and also with that knight, so I don't know if I can show you this. You may not see it, but this knight is kind of like almost, it wants to, like his horse sorry, this is the knight. His horse like is facing the queen, but then the knight somehow like his face is a little bit turned against it. And the way I feel about this, that it's either someone who actually would like to help you, but I don't know, this person, like, he's probably either immature or maybe not in the right position to help you. It just doesn't really come negative, but it just comes because there's a lot of green, and it actually feels like that this person needs a lot of healing. And it feels like this person, it's funny, this person needs a lot of help himself. But maybe with that, because you are this mature queen, right? Also who understands the emotions, and you are being asked. So I feel like this is maybe a bit of a random message, but just please take it that if there is someone around you who perhaps maybe maybe you perceive them, or they think that they would want to help you even materially, I feel like it's a bit of it's the opposite. It's a bit of an opposite situation, that they also need to go through a lot of healing, and maybe they'll need some help from you. So maybe it just represents some aspect of a friend or a friendship, but I feel like it's a bit positive, right? So maybe take it lightly and laugh more, and it feels like you will be able to perhaps advise this person who perhaps initially wanted to help you, and maybe they will do help you at some point, right? But it just felt like their position is a little bit on one side and the other, if that makes sense. All right, let me guys now take, okay, Rebecca's cards. One, okay, we've got two cards. Let me take two cards, guys, for you. So one will be from Rebecca Campbell's oracle cards called Work Your Light. So let me just have a message. Okay, let me just a message for Virgos, please. The Council of Light. Okay, so this is, and again, like you guys have different kinds of messages for you. This message is called, I actually would like to show you this. I don't know if you can, let me just, yeah, oh, here we go. Because I would like you to see that card. It's called, okay, right? It's called the Council of Light, and it does say divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. And I feel like actually that this may relate to, you know, I was talking about the Queen of Cups, right? And the subtle aspects of life. Council of Light, the way I see it very often, it's our helpers in the spirit realm. So our spirit guides, including, for example, angels and archangels. Maybe you've been connecting, there could be some saints, I don't know, this is how it's, or ascended masters as well. So I feel like the message is that you have a Council of Light, you have a group of helpers in the spirit realm, definitely. So please trust it, and you perhaps are being also encouraged to connect with them, to sit in meditation, and to kind of call upon them, and also see whomever is coming up for you, and ask them for help. And you can also ask them, I feel like you can ask them, I was actually recently guided this way, you can ask them to show you that, for example, some of them can be helping you in the specific areas in your life that obviously will perhaps be going on through the year. So for example, if it's your finances, you can sit down in meditation and ask, please, can I ask ascended masters, angels, archangels, and spirit guides of the light and of God perhaps, right, to show up and to show me how, like, who is working with me. And once you know it from the meditation, that's why I'm telling you this, it will be easier to connect. You can then connect every day. Even, for example, when you do your banking, right? If you want protection, I do that very often. You can, for example, I don't know, for me, sometimes I call him Archangel Metatron or Michael. It depends whom is stronger at the time. And I ask, for example, for protection and for guidance, right? So you can then bring also the spiritual component into the physical life. And I think that I feel like that's important for you that I say it. So, and I think many of you are aware of it, that you are working with spirit guides, right? And ascended masters and angels. But you are being encouraged to sit in meditation, ask them to come up and to tell you who they are, and you will recognize them. I'm sure you will. Or there may be some new spirit guides perhaps, but, and then see you, and and again, and ask them, or you will be able also, they'll give you guidance that this is, for example, in your finances, this is this 5 spirit guide, let's say, or 2 ascended masters who are helping you, and they probably will ask you, or at least you are being guided straight away to trust it, that they'll be with you for the whole year, and they probably will continue. And you can then ask them and request any guidance, even when you do, let's say, again, even when you count your money. So that's what I said, doing the banking, but it can be anything else in the physical realm. And you just ask them to be with you, just so you can be helped. Okay, I think that that's the main message, right? So just remember, I think I would just summarize, remember that even in the physical, you can call upon your spirit guides, and they can be all the time with you, or maybe that's not possible, but like most of the time. Even for example, when you are cooking, like when I'm cooking, that's where I'm asking sometimes Archangel Raphael or archangels just to help me with something because I just don't know, for example, how much, I don't know, maybe not salt, but let's say how much of spices I should put in, and I do that, and actually it actually works out quite well. And I would say also it's a lot of fun, so trust it, please, right? Obviously they are always uplifting the energy. And that's the message, friendship and union. This is the message from actually from an angel card by Kyle Gray. I think it's, yeah, it's called the Angel Guide Oracle. And you actually have, so that's interesting, you have a friendship and union. I think the message here, so again, so these messages are a little bit more random, but that's how I wanted to give you a little bit more random messages. I think there's probably a lot about friendship. So you've got those two beautiful souls, right? It's like, this seems like it's two females, a little bit maybe different females, but they feel like they're connecting through their hands and through their heart. And through, it feels like they're connecting through spirit. So they understand themselves very well, or they understand, okay, each other also very well, I would say. And I think it comes friendship and union. I think, okay, something that is important for you, and I think you may be at different levels, like many, like some of you will be at different levels, let's say, of these friendships and understanding and unions. But it's important for you to recognize where you feel united with your friends and you feel like, let's say, that they love you and they respect you the same level as you do, so there's equality. And you perhaps will also be able to recognize those who are not at the same level, right? And I do mean it, that who perhaps sometimes they have a tendency to put you down or to be negative about you and your ideas. And perhaps once you've spotted, so perhaps pay attention to it. And once you spotted it, then I would be suggesting also, but this is also, I feel like that's the work through of the year, and something will be coming up to show you that you want to distance yourself from these kind of friendships who are not equal to you anymore. And I think this is a bit of a change as well, so pay attention. And pay attention to how you feel, to your heart and how you feel about that. Pay attention how they act towards you, and I feel like it will be more clear for you to understand that, yes, I feel like they are my friend, but for example, this person, I feel like I need to distance myself and maybe let go at some point. All right. Okay, I think I will finish with that. I feel like that's a nice positive kind of ending for you guys. So thank you, Virgos, for watching the video. I hope it was helpful for you. And please do hit the like button, subscribe. I'll be very grateful for that, as this is a new channel, so you'll help me grow my channel. Or share it with your friends as well, or with your family, with your colleagues. Yeah, and I'm wishing you all the best for the year. I hope to see you in my future videos as well. Yeah, and take care of yourselves. Bye. Hello, beautiful Capricorn. So this will be your portion, so the Capricorn portion of a message of the general guidance as well for the whole year 2023. As I explained in the first video of this of the whole big video that I posted for the earth signs. Yeah, and this will be, so these are specific messages for Capricorn, and this will apply to you if Capricorn is your sun sign, your moon, or your rising sign. Or also if Capricorn, also it will apply either if you're intuitively drawn to the messages, to the video, or perhaps it will apply for any other placements where Capricorn falls in your astrological birth chart, if you know your chart. All right, I think, and yes, and the angels are always asking me to remind you, please go ahead and listen first to the general message for all the 3 earth signs, because it may contain some important messages for you guys. And this now is a specific message applied obviously to Capricorns and to, let's say, Capricorn like situations perhaps that may come up during the year. So it's more specific to you, right? But but the angel said it will make perhaps more sense also if you listen to the general message and the Capricorn message, yeah, as much as you can, of course. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I usually start, so I've got 3 tarot and 3 angel tarot cards with, so in 3 positions, and I've got 3 clarifiers, which this time it's just another tarot deck, the more traditional sorry, tarot deck. And I think I'm just trying, sometimes I'm trying to say, I think there is something, so that like a general kind of, let's say, theme or a message, let's say, for the year, or for what may come up. I feel like I actually have a bit of a mixed message here, but I feel like there is something about your manifestations and how you are bringing, for example, justice in into your life. So perhaps resolving some issues from the past. Um, and you will be also, you probably being reminded also to take time for yourself and do your spiritual inner work. We also have the Hermit card in the future, and I think this is also a confirmation that that aspect of you maybe being alone sometimes and then connecting with the spirit, so being also the spiritual, let's say, part of you will be also important. Okay, but I feel like there's not one major message, so let's just go ahead with the cards and I will explain to you what I see. Actually, one thing that I've noticed, for example, that for water signs, that they were like the messages were actually more concise. I would say they were just more together. For, I would say, for the earth signs, they're a little bit, I would say, they're not all over the place because they do relate to one another, right? But sometimes I feel when I'm reading them, the energy, it feels a little bit like there are different messages here and there, and I kind of need to combine them, right? So they don't have like this, perhaps this congruence, but they are all congruent, right? It's just the way, maybe it's a message for you guys because maybe this is how you are feeling as well. But that's how I'm feeling when I'm doing the readings. All right. Yeah, so take it as it comes as well, right? Because maybe all of these messages will also apply at some stages and to different situations, right? So they may not necessarily, let's say, be part of one big whole, let's say, right? They're just smaller messages giving you some heads up, right? Yeah, and some kind of forewarning, let's say, or whatever that needs to be. Okay, so this, for the first card, you actually have the Sun card, but that's a little bit like a past position or something that you are bringing from the past to the present moment. And this came with the Justice card, so this is upright, right? I'm waiting for my camera just to center. But Justice came in reverse. So what I've been feeling is that the Sun in here in this position, right, that you have been perhaps, and I would say that it was in the past year, maybe a little bit longer, but it just feels like actually it was in 2022 for most of you, or some of you at least, that you've been trying to work on, like you've been trying to kind of manifest or work on manifestations in such a way that you bring about justice to your life. And I think I would say that it relates to certain situations, and you will know, I mean, it's different for different people, but you will know perhaps which situations I'm referring to for you, right? Honor it as well. But I would say, so you were working perhaps even quite hard to bring about justice and perhaps some aspect of like justice and fairness to your life. You were working on perhaps bringing back a karmic balance, right? So the karmic balance, so you perhaps well, with karmic, you needed perhaps to learn some lessons also to make sure, darling, to make sure that you apply even yourself, or you apply perhaps your solutions and yourself to life in such a way that you bring, let's say, justice to yourself as well, right? But I think with the Sun card, because the Sun is usually a very positive card, I feel like you were you were on the right path, and you were doing all you could do, and there was some positive results already being seen. But because this card is obviously reversed, I feel like not everything has fully manifested as really, yes, this is now justice, right? This is now just and fair. So I think there's a bit of it seems like it's kind of like a bit of a delay in manifestation with justice, right? And again, guys, you know what I mean by justice. Justice, that if something was done wrong to you, you would then expect that things are going to come around and be done, let's say, be done good for you, right? So be done better. Or you can, but I would also say that that's important to remember that you are also working, and you know it, or you were working on also bringing justice to your life. And I would say you've already had some positive results. You have had some positive, maybe also messages from spirit, from other people, that there is more justice coming to your life. You are manifesting life which is more just and fair. But at the same time, but it's a positive sign, please. And but at the same time, there's still a little bit of work to be done. Or okay, it comes like there is still a little bit of a delay for this justice, let's say, card, and for this just to come upright, and let's say for this justice to come fully to your life, I would say, right? But it does relate, like, specifically to let's say a certain situations in your life, and it will be different for different Capricorns as well. All right, but with the Sun card, I feel like it's a positive message. It will happen. It will happen at different stages for you guys, but you will see justice, and you will sorry, be able also to bring about this justice or act in such a way that you will, let's say, set your boundaries and set, okay, let's say enough is enough. Anyway, you will bring about the justice, right? Okay. The second card, which is actually interesting because this is the center of your reading, but this is a bit different. It's like, it's Four of Air, which is Four of Swords. And I feel sorry, guys. I'm just short of breath sometimes. I have to say that sometimes with Capricorn messages, I have that feeling. The Capricornian can be sometimes a heavy energy. And apologies, I'm just a Cancer, maybe that's why I feel this way. Let me just breathe for a moment. So you are being, yes, reminded. Sorry, guys, let me just. Okay. Apologies again. I just needed to center myself. You are Four of Air. I feel like you are being perhaps reminded and asked to remember that you always need to take time for yourself. So no matter what is happening in your life, and no matter what the responsibilities are or the obligations, you always have the right to say no, or you have the right to say, hang on a second, I need a bit of time to think about it, and then also say, I need a bit of time, right? And then for you, it would be to perhaps withdraw myself, to distance, to take care of myself. So I think one aspect of this card is your self-care, and to remember that you always have the right to do that, and there will always be, let's say, enough time for you just to take some time before you perhaps make a decision, before you, let's say, answer to someone on a question, or before you you know, take, I don't know, so take up something, so like take a decision or something like that, right? On the other hand, this is also a reminder to continue perhaps doing your inner work. So this is also, so you not only, you will need time for yourself, I feel. With the time for yourself is also time to rest or relax as well, and rejuvenate or recuperate. One thing. The second thing is also to do your inner work. And this could be also, yeah, to heal yourself, to heal your emotions, to come back to balance, to perhaps journal things, to understand things better, right? So to understand yourself on a deeper level. And with that, interestingly, you have actually two queens, and then you've got the Queen of Pentacles, who actually is, she comes as who is a Queen of Manifestations, and this is how she comes. And then you also have a Queen of Wands, and Queen of Wands, let me just wait for my camera, I hope you can see it. Yeah, and the Queen of Wands is also the one who actually, she's also like a perfect manifestor. She's also a manifestor. She's like the go-getting, so she's like the go-getting, like taking action type of queen. I'm just trying to think what's the message, obviously, with this card. Make sure that you take time also for yourself and self-care. I think I would say that you've got this, so these are, let's say, archetypal qualities of you guys, right? They're both feminine, so it's probably not the same as masculine. And I think feminine also means that it's more introverted and more inward, right? So even, for example, even though this queen would be the most, I see the Queen of Wands to me would be the most active queen, and like the active on the outside. But I would say that this queen here is also telling you that sometimes you need to take action for yourself and on the inside of you, right? So you need to perhaps just take time for yourself, withdraw yourself, for example, and I don't know, do some healing work, right? She's also a transformer, to be honest. She's great at, let's say, energy work also, because she works with energy. So on the other hand, this queen is also telling you that while you are perfect, let's say, at acting on the outside world, or you are very good at certain things, you are also being asked to just take time for yourself and make sure that you do things for yourself, right? Or any action you take is also this action towards your own, let's say, inner being, inner healing, inner well-being status, I would say, right? And I think the Queen of Pentacles is just reminding you, because you guys are Capricorn, so this could be a Capricorn energy, that you are also great. You know how to manifest, and you are very good in your own, let's say, realm of you are the earth sign, right? And this is the earth sign, Capricorn. And I feel like actually she's just giving you like the confidence message that there's nothing to worry about, that you are perfect, you are as you are. That's your feminine earth quality as well. You can manifest it as a female. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I don't know why the masculine, so you don't need to be a man to manifest, for example, more money if you want to manifest more money. And remember that all of it could be part of like us having, we all have like the old belief systems in us, right? That's why I'm saying that you can, as a woman, you can manifest, but you can also manifest slower, Or you can remember that, for example, you can, by taking time for yourself, by taking time for your self-care, for the relaxation, let's say the rest, you are also manifesting. It's just that you need to allow, you need to let the universe work for you, right? When you are resting, the universe needs to, maybe other people need to work. The universe also needs to work and is always working for you, right? So that's kind of, I think this is like the, but I feel like the importance, but this is your strength. Remember that you can manifest it, and even when you are resting or doing your inner work, you are also manifesting, if that makes sense, right? And that's some, maybe that's even sometimes more important for you, or it will be important at some stages during the year. All right. So this is that. And now we have the last position. We've got the Hermit. Okay, we actually have the 10 of Earth, which is 10 of Pentacles, and this came with the Hermit card. And I think this confirms it, and it also actually, but it came also with 9 of Cups, and 9 of Cups is the wish fulfillment card. But before I say that, I feel like it did feel like you can, the 10 of Earth, it's perhaps, it is like a result of your manifestation. This is how I see it. I also feel like maybe by the end of the year, you will feel like maybe like you are much more maybe in your, it feels like it can also be like your environment, like a physical environment, but it feels like, because it feels good, and perhaps by the end of the year, and I didn't say it to other signs, but it doesn't matter. Your message is that by the end of the year, you actually may feel like you're much more in control and in your power, perhaps in your midst, in your environment, right? And I see, but I see it in a positive way and in a subtle way, right? So you are in a power, but you don't need to overpower anyone, perhaps. And the Hermit card actually reminds you that you do need some time alone. You may be guided, you may be really guided or requested by, I would say, but spirit guides, but maybe by, I don't know, if you are seeing a therapist, you may be requested to take time alone. And I really mean it, alone. And it doesn't mean that you need to be lonely, but I think to sort out your own stuff, I would say, right? So this means you really, your own stuff, which means something that no one can do it for you, like your healing or your contemplation time, right? Or even your time with God or with spirit, with universe. So maybe this is maybe some, okay, times it comes like it's a time for worship as well, if this is what you like, or for some rituals. Okay, so I think it does feel like some of you are spiritually, sorry, minded, guys. And apologies if I do speak a bit fast now. Like, it's also, the angels are reminding me that it's Mercury retrograde, because I feel like the timing of these messages, and sometimes I don't know if I speak too much or too little. If it's too fast, then I apologize. And I try to pace myself. I do that sometimes. Coming back to the Hermit card, it does represent to me, for example, like the highest source sometimes, but I feel like there's a need for you to be alone. And I feel like it will come stronger perhaps in the second part of the year, but it's just a reminder that you will probably need to learn it, that sometimes you simply, it's better if you are alone, and it's better also for your manifestations. You will feel, and then again, you will feel better by the end of the year, hopefully, like we will feel more in your power, whatever that means for you. But this does mean in your surroundings, in your environment, and it might be very often, for example, like in your home environment, but maybe even at your workplace, right, whatever that is. And I think the wish, so, and this is your 9 of Cups. So I think altogether, I feel like this Hermit card also tells you that it's important for you to be alone, to do your own inner work, to sort out your things, right? Let's say your stuff, your inner stuff. And this is also in order to manifest. So this is the 9 of Cups, is the wish fulfillment, but also is to manifest whatever you truly want and whatever you truly desire, right? And at the beginning, it just reminds me that you had this Justice card. So also whatever you are trying to manifest, you are now trying to manifest perhaps maybe also from a higher awareness level, maybe from a higher sensitivity, which means that now you want to manifest it and feel that this is now balanced, right? That this is now, that fairness has come back, right? That this is fair, that it feels just for you. And remember that we all contribute to that, right? Yeah. And I would say that you have the strength. We've talked about those two queens, right? You have the power to manifest. You have all it takes. And you will definitely be able to do that, right? And hopefully by the end of the year, you will see some nice positive manifestations and outcomes. All right. Okay. I'm going to take now two oracle cards, two different oracle cards. Let me just check. Okay. For you, we've got spirit animal cards. Okay. And we've got moonology deck. Yeah. Okay. This is a spirit animal oracle deck. Sorry. Anyway, spirit animals, so connecting with the animal spirit. Okay, let me just ask what are the messages. No, let me, okay, they say that that's just one for you. Yeah, and this, the second deck is the Moonology deck. So please, Capricorn messages. Okay, they're asking me to take one more card for you guys. So you will have three. I used to use, but that's okay, right? Okay, and they're saying that the first message is for you guys as well. Okay, that's the same. Anyway, they just told me, the angels just told me that even though it's the same card as I did Virgo, I think, yeah. Let's start. Sorry, guys, I really need to breathe. If you do have, I wanted to say, if you experience an aspect of being short of breath, and hopefully, I mean, make sure that you get checked up by the doctor, but if you trust yourself, right, like I do, make sure that you perhaps do your healing work, and also perhaps some breathing exercises, just to make sure that you can balance. I know that for me sometimes it's when I feel, or there's probably some energetic imbalance already inside of me, and I've done quite a few readings already. But anyway, just a small message for you, all right? So the spirit animal, you've got bobcat spirit, and that's the spirit of the cat for me a lot. But this one says life is a mystery, and yeah, so I feel like it's obviously it's just a message just to trust it as well, that life is a mystery, that not everything can be, let's say, unveiled or untangled straight away, right away. You can't see everything straight away. You can't always see everything towards the future either. But on the other hand, like, have faith, right? It's just like, if you feel anxious, or if you can't see it, then come back to your center, come back to faith. I know that I think someone, like some other sign, sorry, had the same thing, and it was similar message, that faith is more important sometimes. Faith, so having faith in you know, in the universe, let's say, in the whole scheme of things, right? In the fact that things will always work out for the best for you and for others too, right? But I think that's the message for you as well. So life is a mystery, but if you feel like it's a little bit dark out there, right, or you are not sure, or you feel anxious, come back to yourself, to your center. This is how it comes for you, to your center, and to remind yourself that I can, like, I have faith. I believe in the highest source, however you want to call it, the God or universe, spirit, your maybe angels, your ascended masters. I know I'm protected. So just perhaps also come back to the center and remind yourself, right, to continue to have faith that all will be, yeah, all will be well. All right, and all is well. Now the second message, guys, for you comes from the Moonology deck. And this is, yeah, someone is asking, this is by Yasmin Boland, for those who want to know. And this says, see the bigger picture. So maybe that's a little bit related to what I've just said, but so that's a message for you. So throughout the year, perhaps when things are happening, right, maybe bringing, so that's why kind of bringing the justice back, or just, yeah, or the angels are saying that just bringing the justice also means that you're just trying to act and trying to make sure that there is more balance in your life, and in anything that you do. So any, let's say, if you deal like some dealings with money or things like this, you want to make sure that that's righteous for you, right, that that's balanced and justice for you, that just for you, that it's, sorry, just for you. See the bigger picture. I feel like, so yeah, so this will be important in perhaps in those a little bit more difficult situations. So, and that's why you have been guided to always take time for yourself, to withdraw and to do your inner work, right? And this perhaps is also contemplative work, and maybe seeking, you know, listening to, you know, you can listen to like tarot angel readings, but also spiritual readings, right, and things like that, to help you actually see that bigger picture, right? And I think it will be very important for you to see that, right? So rather than being stuck in the details, and even in the fact that, oh, I was hurt here, or this didn't work out, just distance yourself a little bit and try to see. You can ask always spirit also to give you guidance, so that you can see more clearly, like, what was the major lesson in it, for example, right? Or what was the purpose of it, so that you can perhaps also even move on from that. You can find some aspect of, maybe not closure fully, but you can find some aspect of understanding, that you see it better now, and then you can perhaps slowly try to release it or change something for yourself. All right. And the last card, the card that came, actually, this is from the Angel Guide deck by Kyle Gray, and this actually comes for you. So that's kind of like, it's a lot of like, it's a positive message for you, but it's also important for you guys. Friendship and union. I'm just trying to, so I think what I see first in this card, like there's loads of light in there, right? So I think I wanted to say that there's a lot of light in that area of relationships in for you guys, sorry, for the year somehow. There's a lot of light, but I think I feel like I need to remind you about that because maybe you have had issues in relationships, different ways, right? Maybe you've been healing from, let's say, narcissistic parent or narcissistic partner kind of relationship. But now it's a confirmation that there's a lot of light out there. There is a lot of light in some of your relationships already, but I think in the whole, in the area of your relationships, there is a lot of light as well, and there will be more light. And it does mean that you can perhaps attract, I would say maybe not better people into your life, but let's say more positive and more, let's say, balanced people into your life now, right? So I think this is the message for you, that throughout the year you will be able perhaps to move on from the difficulties in relationships, maybe not fully, because it's always work, right, in progress, I would say, especially releasing, let's say, narcissistic parent tendencies and various patterns from the past. But the message here is to be positive, to focus. There is more light in the friendship area and the relationship. There'll be perhaps new people coming to your life, and you'll be also able, so like to attract. So the manifestation thing wise, you'll be able to attract, let's say, more positive and more balanced and loving people to your life. All right, I think I want to stop here. I think that's just this is it. That's all I have for you, Capricorn. Thank you for watching the video. As always, I hope it was useful for you and helpful. And please do hit the like button or subscribe to my channel. It will help me a lot, and I will be grateful to grow my channel as well, to let other people know that there's something valuable here, or share it with your friends as well. Yeah, and I wish you all the best for the whole year, and I hope to see you in my future videos as well. Take care of yourselves. Bye.